All right, guys, so today we will need a strap, some blocks, and a blanket. And we can go ahead and start any resting pose that feels good to you. So if you wanted to have a towel or a blanket rolling up the bottom edge of it for underneath your neck, maybe you'd like to have that underneath your blanket or towel rolled up underneath your knees. Go ahead. And then we'll just start by laying down, taking a moment, just letting yourself kind of settle to the earth. If it feels good to bring your feet out, palms up. And give yourself a moment just to let your body start to sink into your mat, start to get really comfortable. Become aware of the breath. Not yet moving it, just following your inhales and exhales. There's just a little bit of noticing how your body feels. And then as you're ready, we're going to begin to expand the breath. So on your next inhale, imagine filling that space between your hip points, your low belly, and then letting that breath start to travel and expand in all directions, both out from your waist and your back, all the way up to the crown of your head. And once you feel like you can't draw in any more breath, hold at the top. So not creating a lot of tension, just to hold for a few seconds, and then let the exhale really flow out. Next inhale, become broad and expansive, letting that breath flow from almost the bottom of your feet, if you can imagine, to the crown of your head. And as you pause at the very top of that inhale, pause for as long as you can without creating a lot of tension, and then let that exhale pour out. The whole body softens and relaxes with your exhale. Keep these deep inhalations, and almost as if this pause could fill you up and well up, or allow that breath to travel around your body and give new life wherever it's needed, a refresher. And then the exhale, there's more to let go of, more to release. Imagination of building something. As if each inhale we're holding all of this hope, all of this energy to allow us to keep moving forward. And so that holding in is letting that just travel all throughout. And the exhale is maybe something that we're ready to let go of, realizing hope is also kind of part of realizing that there's something that's happening that we no longer need. There's something better on the horizon. Almost as if your breath was that fresh drink of water that hope needed to keep going, to see beyond here. And if you haven't already brought some intention or mantra with you today, maybe it's that I choose hope, or all things change. Maybe it's I find light in dark places. So taking a couple more of those inhales and pauses at the top, and those clearing, releasing exhales. And then whenever you feel ready, you can go ahead and bring soles of the feet to the mat, about mat width apart. And on your next exhale, just let those knees drift to one side. Allow the inhale to be what draws those knees, as if they were floating on your breath. The knees come up. And as you exhale, they slowly release to the other side. Just back and forth with your own breath. Maybe you start to add in moving your head the opposite direction that your knees are going, if that feels good to you today, just to kind of help loosen up a bit of the cervical spine. And the next time that your knees are back up to center, go ahead and draw them into your chest, give them a nice little squeeze, and then we'll start to make some circles. So as if you had your hands on the bottom of your knees, circling out and then back around, starting to warm up the hip sockets. And if you like, you can continue that pause at the top, or just keep going with the deep breath. So letting that breath expand into the low belly, then move up into that space just below your ribs, into the diaphragm, and then let your ribs really expand. And as you exhale, soften the belly. And we can reverse the circle here. Sometimes being able to tap into that feeling of hope is also, once we feel safe, sometimes it's hard to notice where hope lives when our body is in a state of fight or flight. So remembering that breath, 3 deep breaths that can bring us back to a feeling of calm, of being present. And then go ahead and have your strap. You can catch the foot to the mat, or you can extend it by placing the strap around the ball of the right foot. And so making sure, just especially here at first, that we're keeping that knee rather bent and flexing into the foot. So we're going to work a little bit of somatic stretching to get into the hips and this back posterior chain in our leg. So as that foot is flexed, strap on the ball of the foot, knee is bent, draw that strap as if you could bring your hand over to the top of your head, just until you know you might kind of feel a little stretch here, especially with the knee bent. And then find a little bit of resistance. So try and draw your heel back and notice this back of your leg lighting up right now. And then as you exhale, just slowly begin to straighten-ish. It may not straighten much at all, that's okay, into the knee. And start to turn down that resistance so you're no longer driving your heel down, but the foot almost kind of stays in the same place. So then once you bend again into the knee, creating that resistance, so heel goes down, almost as if the hand is drawing overhead on that inhale. Then as you exhale, slowly release that resistance, softening that bend, softening into the knee. Maybe it straightens. Maybe you notice the leg even drifts a little bit closer to your chest. Maybe it doesn't. That's okay. Go back again, creating that resistance. So bending into that knee, drive that heel down. So you're working with creating about 80 to 85% tension. We don't want to create so much tension that we're moving that up into our shoulders, but just lighting up this muscle in the back of the leg and then softening, straightening to see where we're at. This helps not only stretch the back of the hamstring, but we're getting a little bit into the hips here as well by creating this resistance. You might notice the inner thigh, even psoas muscle, sort of lights up, and then we're telling it to slowly release and straighten. We'll go one more, that bend. Maybe you're even drawing that a little bit closer now. And as you release on that exhale, slowly straighten. Then keeping that foot flexed and extending the left leg down the length of the mat if it isn't already. And it doesn't need to be perfectly straight. We're going to draw that leg, right leg, over to the left. So now we're going to get more into IT band, the outer edge. So knee can be bent. It does not need to be straight. Keeping the right shoulder down towards the mat as that right leg moves over to the left. And as it's kind of bent here, we're going to do a similar action. So holding into that strap, bending into the knee, and almost as if you could press the leg forward. So you're creating that resistance towards the left now. And then as you slowly release that resistance, attempt a little bit more straightening into the knee. And you might notice a little intensity in the back of the leg. Maybe it's on the side. Maybe it's just to the side of the knee. That's okay. So just creating kind of back and forth here. Exhale. And you're releasing that tension on the exhale. On the inhale, creating that little bit of tension again. And you might not notice much movement in the knee, and that's okay. You might be feeling quite a bit. Let your shoulder blades soften. Let's go one more round of breath. And let face off and next kind of really sink and turn down tension. And then as you're ready, you can bend that knee, coming back toward the center. Maybe releasing the strap, rolling out the ankle, drawing knee into chest. That feels okay. And then letting that knee kind of drift towards the outside of the rib cage, coming into half happy babies. So extending that foot towards the ceiling, the knife edge of your if you want, or if it feels better to just hold. And happy baby, do so. Drive that left sole of the foot towards the mat, crossing the right leg over, and now drawing that left knee to chest. One more time, the outside of that hip. Big deep inhale. Exhale, cleansing breath out. Then release that right sole of the foot. Can either be down to the mat, or you can extend the length, bring the strap now on the ball of the left foot. So once again, you can keep that knee rather bent, but flexing into the left foot as the hands are just gently drawing. So if they were to keep going and go up over your head, As that knee is nice and bent, on an exhale, try and drive your heel back down towards the mat, creating some resistance. Again, only about like 80. We don't want to move that tension up into the neck and the shoulders. And as you exhale, start to slowly straighten into that knee. Turn down the dial on that tension. So you're not trying to drive your heel down anymore. And then go back, create that tension, inhale. You may even notice little belly lights up a little bit here. And as you exhale, release that tension. Maybe you notice your leg drift a little bit closer. Maybe that's okay. This form of somatic stretching gets the brain and muscle kind of connected. So as we're telling our muscle to turn down, to kind of turn off that tension, we're telling it it's okay if it stretches. So just trying to create a little bit more flexibility by creating this tension first and then telling the muscle it's okay to release. Because a lot of times we'll try and go into a stretch and the muscle binds back up because we kind of haven't talked to it enough. And then last time, so we're through that cycle, the inhale and the exhale. And then extending the right leg if it isn't already, bringing the left leg over to right as that right shoulder blade kind of attempts to maintain down to the floor. You could bend into that knee. This time the strap is almost drawing up towards your nose and you're resisting that heel on the inhale. As you exhale, see how much that knee and that tension is softened, and maybe there's a little bit of straightening. Maybe there isn't, but you might notice that kind of stretch light up. And again, using your own breath, kind of playing back and forth here. If you have a wall, it's also really interesting to actually press the foot against it in this. I will say you might notice a lot of stretch as you do that, but and then hold after you've kind of gone back and forth. It's a very, very intense. So going through one more time with breath, creating that resistance, and then slowly as you exhale, releasing that resistance. Coming back towards center, you can release the strap. Maybe draw knee into chest, make some circles into your foot just to kind of release the ankle. Let that knee drift towards the outside of your ribs and you bringing the foot up towards the ceiling, taking hold of calf, ankle. From the resistance, sometimes it just feels good to hold. Hope is also kind of finding that light in that space, wherever it is that you're in, kind of seeking out some sort of light, some sort of glimmer, and then draw that right knee back up, crossing the left leg just above the ankle, and then draw that right knee in the chest. So figure four, just getting into that outer hip one more time. Maybe a little rock from side to side if that feels good. Let the tops of your shoulders soften, neck and face soften. Then release that hold, drop both knees into chest. Little rock from side to side. You can bring knees around in a circular motion if that feels good. And eventually we'll make our way all the way up, rolling over to one side, coming to seated, and then kind of easy seat. So if you wanted to bring your towel or your blanket, placing it underneath you, sitting on the edge, you can do so. If you wanted to have some blocks underneath your thighs, that's always nice too. One foot in front of the other. Just make some big circles into the torso. We're laying down, just starting to get into the upper back. Be softening here, a little low back. As you exhale, draw your shoulder blades apart. And reverse that, circling. Take a nice big inhale. We'll draw those arms overhead. Then as you exhale, feel that twist coming from the belly, twisting that left shoulder back, bringing that twist, taking your gaze over the left shoulder. C.S. Lewis said, there are better things ahead than any we leave behind. And then slowly turning back towards center, keeping that right hand on top of the left knee. Bring that left hand over top and reaching hold of the other knee. And then creating a little bit of tension here as if you were kind of trying to undo your arms and your knees wouldn't let you, and then a little side to side. So leaning, letting each shoulder dip down while you keep that tension kind of on the hands and knees. And then releasing, we'll switch out the feet. That was a good friend. Once again, a little bit of circling around. Deep inhales. Maybe as you are towards the back, you exhale, draw that navel in, and then we'll reverse the circles. Coming back towards center, roll along the crown of the head. Inhale, reach the hands up. As you exhale, start to twist. Let that right shoulder come back. So that left hand on top of the right knee. Maybe pausing in the middle to grow long through the crown. Exhale, maybe twisting a little deeper. If it feels okay to let your gaze go over the right shoulder. Slowly as you turn back, keeping that left hand now to the right knee, crossing that right arm over to the opposite knee. Once again, create that little bit of tension. So if you were trying to undo your arms and then just a little swaying, a little dipping the shoulders from side to side. And unwinding, we're going to make our way into table. So if you'd like to have a towel or a blanket underneath your knees, having the knees directly underneath the hips, fan out the fingers, nice and wide, and then just draw that low belly gently towards the mid-back. So that low belly is really gently drawing in, crown of the head is reaching forward, some cat-cow, so let those hips lift. The low belly softens down, heart shines through, chin comes up last. As you exhale, really draw the navel in, tuck your tailbone under, press the mat, and feel your shoulders opening up. Inhale. Just follow your breath with your cows. Hope is that stamina through something but also with the balance. Like in yoga, we talk about sthita and sukha, effort and ease. Exhale. Press it all out. And as you're ready, come back to that strong neutral spine. On your next inhale, keep that right hand down. Sweep open that left hand. And then as you exhale, thread the left hand through the right, letting the left shoulder and left ear touch down to the ground. Then we're going to inhale it back up again. We'll do that one more time as you reach that left hand through and then open it up. Really open up the chest. Maybe gaze goes towards your fingertips. And it's not going to land. So you allow left shoulder, left ear to the ground. Keep reaching that left fingertips to right, especially if you're not feeling it in your shoulder blade. If it feels good to walk that right hand forward, you can do so. Maintaining those hips rather square. So maybe they're not trying to lean to the right. Keep those hips square. Gaze can go underneath that right armpit. Then as you're ready on your exhale, bring that right hand back and press yourself back up into that table. Maybe taking a moment, you can sway the hips from side to side, maybe snaking a little into the back. And once again, finding that nice solid table, crown of the head reaches forward. On your next inhale, left hand presses down, reach the right hand up, maybe gaze goes towards the fingertips. As you exhale, right hand through, right shoulder, right side of the head just briefly touches down before you open it back up again. Exhale. One last time, pressing up, opening up the chest. As you exhale, slowly lower down. Reach that right hand all the way to the left as the right shoulder, right side of the head touches down. Keep those hips square. You might want to lean over to the left, but kind of keep them as square as you can. Maybe it feels good to you to reach those left fingertips forward. Gaze can kind of go almost underneath the armpit or to your fingertips. Sometimes hope definitely feels more like effort than it does ease. Keeping your gaze towards hope. Breathing right the space between your shoulder blades. Take one more big deep inhale, and as you're ready, let that movement of the spine. Maybe it's cat-cows, maybe it's some hip circles, whatever feels good to soften back. And finding that strong tailbone, kind of tucking your toes. Maybe we'll gently draw the crown of the head reaches forward and press up to our first downward dog. So let those hips go high. Press the mat forward, fan out the fingertips. Bring those shoulder blades to a neutral position. So shoulders aren't way up by the ears and they're not so far down the back that your ribs flare forward, but just somewhere nice and neutral. And then slowly begin to soften into the knees, heels going towards the mat. You can take some time to bend here into each knee. Big deep inhales, some cleansing, clearing exhales. Then as you're ready on an inhale, let that right leg float up. As you exhale, soften first, bending into the knee, elbows bend back. Exhale, press the mat away, right foot behind. Right hand, slowly lower the left knee down. You can bring some blocks here. And as you inhale, get that spine nice and long. You can handstand the blocks or arm to the thigh. Maybe you want it to come all the way up, creating a little bit of resistance, knee towards heel, and then softening down, being mindful of that low back. Big, deep inhale, cleansing, clearing, exhale. Then on your next exhale, bring both hands back down, maybe even inside, so the right arm to the inside. Once again, find an inhale. So if you come back off of it, inhale, wave the spine nice and long. Then maybe there's a little bit of lowering elbows down onto the blocks. Crown of the head reaches forward so your spine is in this beautiful, nice long line. Shoulder blades slide down your back. Sometimes hope is just staying, it's that work of kind of staying present with that deep knowing that there's better ahead. And then as you exhale, bring that torso back up. You can bring the right hand to the outside and send the hips back. Little pyramid. Inhale, maybe breathe up from the pelvic floor through the crown of the head, and then allow that torso to lower again. And then coming up, bringing that torso up, bringing that right leg so it's just towards the outside of your mat, whichever. I wouldn't go too far out, so we're not looking in line with the hips, but just a little bit off of the mat. Take a nice inhale, press the top of the left toenails into the mat. So you might notice a little lighting up of the front of the left hip. As you exhale, just leaning a little bit more to the side on the right. Inhale, coming up. If it feels okay on your knee, you can send the hips back from there. And just a little flow from front to back here. Keep that pubic bone to belly button, core engaged, spine nice and long. So using those blocks is also really helpful. Just getting into the hips. Working quad a little as well. One more of those. And then come back forward, hands placing down on the mat, back to downward facing dog. Big deep inhale, cleansing, clearing, exhale. This time as you inhale, come up high on those toes, start to wave the spine forward. Crown of the head reaches forward. You can lower the knees, lower all the way down, keeping those hands by the side, press all 10 toenails into the mat. Shoulder blades glide down your back. Your next inhale, little baby cobra. As you exhale, lower it down. Those toes, send it back to downward facing dog. On the next inhale, let that left leg float up. As you exhale, soften towards the mat. Left foot comes forward, lower that right knee. Take a moment to inhale to wave the spine long. You can stay here on the blocks or then you can let those hips sink. Shoulder blades are gliding down your back. Bring those hands on an exhale on either side and slowly send those hips back. Front can be bent. Maybe once you're back there, take a nice inhale, grow long through the crown of the head, and then let that heart melt forward. Let that exhale release. As you're ready, you can come back forward. Bring that left arm towards the inside. Take another little, maybe you're kind of even backing up off of that deep stretch forward to inhale. along through the crown of the head, and then let that torso soften down. So we keep our spine nice and long. Shoulder blades glide down your back, soften into your jaw. Sometimes it's about how can we be the light and hope, even if you can't see it. Is there some way that you can create it? And as you're ready, exhale, bring that torso back up. Walk yourself all the way back, bringing that left foot just outside of the mat slightly. Once again, pressing the right toenails into the mat. So you might notice the front of the right leg light up. And then as you exhale, just kind of a nice little lean towards that left knee. And coming back. And we're going back as far as feels good on this knee and this hip. So you can use some blocks here to kind of help, so you're not just completely losing balance and falling back, creating too much friction in that knee. Softening into our hips. Creating mobility as well. One more. Forward. Exhale. This time, as you come forward on your mat, placing those hands back to downward facing dog. Big deep inhale, cleansing, clearing, exhale. Inhale, come up onto those toes, wave the spine forward. As you exhale, lower the knees, come all the way down. Press the toenails in the mat, light up those legs. Draw shoulder blades down your back as you inhale, a little cobra. As you exhale, all the way down, tuck the toes, send it back to downward. Big deep inhale, one more cleansing, clearing, exhale. Inhale, take a look forward, soften into the knees, and then bring those feet directly underneath hips. Little forward fold. So deep bend in the knees, so your low belly, bottom of the ribs is on the top of your thighs. Let that head and neck release. On your next inhale, hands can glide up the shins. Find a nice little half lift. Bring the weight back into the heels and the hips. As you exhale, soften into the knees, and then unhinge. Use your core to draw you all the way up. Inhale, bring those hands up. Exhale, heart center with the hands. Take a moment to just feel the upright position. Maybe a little sway from side to side, feeling into your feet. Inhale, bring those arms back overhead. As you exhale, deepen in those knees, forward fold. As you inhale, find a little half lift. And as you exhale, we're going to bring just the left foot back, leaving that right foot forward. So coming into like a runner's lunge, you can use blocks here. Take an inhale, wave that spine nice and long. As you exhale, that left hand's going to stay on a block or down to the mat. And sweep that right arm all the way around to back. The gaze follows it. As you inhale, bring that right hand back forward. Bring it to the inside of the leg and soften down. Let that chest soften down as far as feels good. So feel into that hip. Inhale, wave that spine again nice and long. So using that core, drawing up from the pelvic floor. And we're going to pivot forward. So like we're wandering the torso into wide-legged forward fold. And you can bring a block with you if you'd like, having it towards the left. Take a moment here. Or maybe just let the chest go side to side. Take an inhale to find some length here in the spine. Waving that spine long. As you exhale, start to bend into that left knee. Send the hips back, crown of the head forward. You can even have a block as you come down to Skandasana. So only as far as feels good to you. Maybe it's just nice and high and that feels good on the inner thigh. Maybe you'd like to bring your seat down, let it rest on top of a block. Whatever feels good to you. You can remove the block, but draw shoulder blades down your back. Draw that heart forward. Big, deep inhale, cleansing, clearing, exhale. Then as you're ready, we're going to pivot towards the left. So now we're runner's lunge on the left side. You can use that block to bring it to the inside. The right side, right hand can come to the block or a mat. Take a moment to inhale, wave the spine nice and long. As you exhale, sweep that left hand forward. A big circle right to the back. Gaze can go towards the left fingertips, following it to the back. Bring that arm back forward to the inside of that left thigh. Lower that elbow, almost as if you're going to touch it to the mat. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't matter. Inhale, wave that spine long back into runner's lunge. As you exhale, bring that left foot back, coming into plank. Your choice, you can chaturanga here if you'd like, or just pause in downward dog. Wherever your Sunday takes you. Once we've all come back to downward facing dog, take a look forward, take a deep bend in those knees. Bring those feet under the hips, forward fold. Head and neck release, deep bend in the knees. On an inhale, find a nice little half lift. As you exhale, soften into the knees, unhinge. Coming up. Inhale, bring those arms up. Exhale. Hands to heart center. Feel those stacking, so those hips, shoulders over hips, ears over shoulders, feeling nice and strong over the top of your feet. As you inhale, reach those hands up. Exhale, deep bend in the knees, forward fold. Inhale, find a nice little half lift. Fingertips can be on that block as you send that right leg back again, so that left foot is still front. That high runner's lunge. Take an inhale to wave the spine long. Inhale, coming back forward. Once again, that elbow kind of softens, but keep that length in the spine as that elbow almost tries to find the mat. Maybe that's. And then walk that torso back towards center, that wide leg forward fold. Allow yourself to spend a little time there. Maybe a little wave from side to side. And then take a nice inhale, create some length in the spine. As you exhale, bend into that right knee, send the seat back, chest comes forward. So this alone is a beautiful Skandasana, nice little stretch on the inner thigh. Maybe you'd like to bring a block, setting it behind the chest, shoulder blades drop down the back. You could move to, even if the heel lifts, it's beautiful. Shoulder blades side and back. If you're in the pose, it is the pose. If you're in your pose, and we're going to come pitting back towards that front, right foot forward. Take a minute. Inhale, find that length. Bring that left hand to the floor, or maybe it's a block. And as you exhale, sweep that right arm forward and back. Make a big circle. Gaze follows it towards the back. coming back forward with that big circle. Then bring that elbow, right elbow, as if it were going to sink down towards the mat. Come back, runner's lunge, take an inhale, find that length in the spine first. Then as you exhale, send that left foot back, downward facing dog. Big deep inhale. As you exhale, maybe you wave the spine forward, coming into your chaturanga. Maybe you'd like to stay in downward dog, whatever feels good to you. We'll all meet. One more downward dog. Big deep inhale. Cleansing, clearing exhale. Inhale, wave that spine forward. As you exhale, bend into the knees, bring the knees wide, toes together. Send the hips back, rest in child's pose. Hands can be forward, hands can be back. Big deep inhales, feel your blow against your thighs, feel your back body light up. As you exhale, front body just blankets. Thich Nhat Hanh says, hope is important because it can make a present moment less difficult to bear. If we believe that tomorrow will be better, we can bear a hardship today. Take another deep inhale. Maybe if your hands aren't already reaching forward, reach those hands forward. As you exhale, press the torso up. We're going to come back to seated position. So again, if you'd like to sit on the edge of your blanket, go ahead and do those feet wide. If you want to have your strap handy. So flexing into your feet, take an inhale, reach the crown of the head forward, or upward, I guess, lengthening in the spine. As you exhale, feel that torso kind of turn towards that left foot. If you like, you can bring a strap, placing it in the ball of the left foot. Take another inhale, reach the crown of the head upward, shoulder blades glide down your back on the exhale. Maybe you feel this right here and that feels good enough. Maybe you'd like to start to lower down. You can also play with that resistance. So if you were to bend into the knee, create that resistance by trying to drive your heel forward. Hand isn't as kind of stopping you. And then as you exhale, straightening into the knee and let that chest bend forward. So as you inhale, bend, flex, feel that tension created. Exhale, soften. You might be slightly over that and it feels good to just stretch. Just go with what feels good today. It's kind of a lot sometimes to ask the brain to get involved in all of this, and there's some days where I know I felt that you come to your mat to not have all of that, to just kind of soften. And that's okay too. Take one more breath wherever you're at in this stretch. And as you exhale, gently come back up to center. So bend. Release some low back tension maybe. Once again, extend those legs out. And you can have some blocks or blanket underneath your knees if your hamstrings are feeling really tight today. Take an inhale with the spine long so the crown of the head is reaching upwards. As you exhale, feel that torso turn a little bit to the right. You can take a strap if that feels okay. Having on the ball of that right foot, keep the right foot flexed, keep left foot flexed too. And again, maybe as you exhale, you just like to let that heart melt forward. Maybe you'd like to go with creating some of that tension. So bend into the leg, create that resistance. So it's almost like the heel we're trying to go down, hands are letting it. And as you exhale, dial down that resistance straight into the leg. Maybe you notice chest likes to follow with that softening. Maybe you just like to hold the stretch, that's okay too. Wherever you're at, just keep the tops of your shoulders so you're not drawing the tension upwards. Shoulder blades are still gliding down your back. Allow yourself just to kind of play with this stretch, however good to you. Taking one more nice big inhale. As you exhale, release, bring torso back or soften wherever you're at. One more nice little windshield wiper of the knees. Extending that right leg down the length of the mat. Cross the left leg over so that left heel is coming towards your right hip. You can draw that knee gently into the chest. If it feels good, to keep that right foot continually wrapping, so then the right heel is by left hip. You can do so, or you can keep the bottom leg extended. Wherever you're at, first take a nice inhale. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Gently draw that knee in. So maybe it's a hand, maybe it's the right hand drawing the knee in. Maybe you're fully wrapping the arm around, and as you exhale, gently twist. Gaze can go over that left shoulder. It's good to you. Continually inhaling, creating that length in the spine. As you exhale, maybe there's a little bit a deeper edge to your twist. Maybe you've found that edge of your twist. Either one, it's fine. Shoulder blades are getting down your back. Come back towards center, nice and slowly. Then bring that left leg so it's straightening down the length of the mat, flexing the foot, crossing the right leg over, bring it by our left hip. Gently draw that knee in, maybe your arm is around, and if you like, that left heel can keep wrapping around towards right hip or stay extended. Wherever you're at, inhale to grow long through the crown of the head. As you exhale, twist from the belly, then let the ribs, shoulders, then your neck find that twist. Keep inhaling. One more big, deep inhale. Then on your next exhale, unwinding, come back towards center. Finding an easy seat, and then before we come into the final rest, I know a lot of times I do this breath of joy in the beginning of class, but I thought for this messaging, it's nice to do at the end. So any comfortable seated position, you can come to the edge of your mat, one foot in front of the other. As always, some blocks underneath hips. Bring the hands to heart center. Long exhale, bring all that breath out. Maybe you follow with your hand if you feel good with that. Exhale, bring the hands towards the back, clasping the hands. On your next inhale, opening up the chest, straightening the arm backwards and forward. Exhale, release, round through, so those hands forward, back, draws towards whatever's behind you. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart center. We'll go through a couple more times and I'll try to not talk so much. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, bring them behind. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale, rounding through. Inhale it up. Exhale, heart center. Inhale up. Exhale back. Inhale, open. Exhale, release. Inhale up. Exhale, hands heart center. And just take a little pause here. Shoulder blades slide down your back. And then as we transition into your final resting pose, if there's any other bit of movement you would like to take on your way there, maybe it's happy baby, maybe it's a little windshield wipering of the legs, whatever that is for you, go ahead and do that final last bit of movement. And once you feel like you've gotten that movement entirely out of your system, extend your legs down the length of the mat, let your feet fall open, bring your palms up and away from your body, draw your shoulder blades down and under so the tops of your shoulders can find the mat. Take that big deep inhale to the elbow, then diaphragm, then wrist, and take that little pause at the top again. Exhale, release your jaw, open your mouth, breathe it out. Another one of those. And then we'll just spend the last couple minutes just quiet, pausing. As always, you can stay in your Savasana as long as you like. Whenever it feels good to you, inhale those arms, you put toes the opposite direction. So you can draw knees to chest or just bring soles of the feet to the mat. Maybe moving the head from side to side, softening again into the neck. If it feels good to draw the knees to chest and rock from side to side, you can do so as well. And then maybe finding a side that feels really good to you, rolling over to that side and pausing there briefly, letting your cheek rest on your bicep. Maybe once again coming back to whatever mantra that you had connected with with or brought with you. Maybe it's small things change. I choose hope. And as you're ready, gently pressing yourself up to any easy seated position, just making sure that you're really comfortable. You can sit on a towel or a blanket. You can have some blocks underneath your knees. Taking a moment just to feel sits bones connected to earth. Feel the crown of the head reaching upward. Bringing hands over the heart today, taking that inhale and drawing into the low belly. Letting the ribs expand, letting that heart lift upward as you exhale. Keeping all that length, just let everything soften around it. And I leave you with one of my favorites from Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. I thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a really good week ahead, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon.